Well, the way we see talent is very much talent is like a resource. It is not an end in its own right. It is a means to something bigger. And we think that this 21st century, where we will go through the 7 billion number of inhabitants of this earth and will reach the 9 billion number halfway, will actually represent an enormous range of new challenges for human mankind, such as resource demand growth, the effects of that resource demand growth onto climate change stress. And so therefore we think that in order to get better and new solutions to this, we should use the most precious resource of all we have in society, which we think is human talent. And that is why Shell has been so much involved in actually promoting the cause, in particular for technical talent, but talent in general, in order to make sure that we find the solutions for the problems that we will be facing. And in the same area also, that it may be a foundation for future European competitiveness and well-being. And we think that's important. So talent is a cornerstone of that building. I think it is very important that when you find something really important, that you do not only talk about it, but that you also spend time and sometimes spend money and effort in doing programs and efforts in involving people, particularly young people, because they by definition have more future than older people. And we also think, and that's perhaps because we are of course an energy company, we think of talent as a pipeline. So, it's very important in order to get things out of the pipeline, graduate engineers or whatever, that you need to get younger people into the pipeline. And that pipeline is the education. Our involvement is both in engagement of politicians to draw their attention to this inconsistency, to support programs like your own, like the Talent Week, which I think is a brilliant idea, and also some talent programs that we have of ourselves, all with the objectives to get to a bigger pool of resources, brain resources, that in the future will be dedicated to finding solutions for the problems we will be facing. It may surprise a lot of people that a company like ours, who supposedly sells energy, and of course we do, would be so interested in energy efficiency. And this indeed is true for two reasons. One, we think that it is absolutely necessary because demand for energy is growing so much. There may actually be a challenge in supplying sufficient energy to meet the needs for many people. But also we think the Shell Eco Marathon is a way to inspire young people that technology is cool and that working and dedicating your creative powers to eco-innovation is a good thing to do. And actually it started out very, very modestly back in 1939 as a wager between two scientists in a Shell laboratory who said, I can make my Pontiac drive with less fuel than your Buick, because it was in America, surprisingly. And this was big fun. And then later on they involved professors of universities that they worked with as researchers. And they actually said, wait, we should not do this as adults. We should involve some of our students. So then it became university students. And right now, every year, about 3,000 students from all over Europe between the age of 15 and say 24, 25. So it's both secondary school and universities participate in what I call the Olympic Games of energy efficiency, whereby the purpose is to design and build a vehicle that can drive the furthest on the least amount of energy. And the results are absolutely staggering. I mean, the best Hungarian team that participated last year achieved close to 500 kilometers on 1 liter of fuel. And they actually presented their new vehicle to Paul Kovac last Friday when we launched the Shell scenarios at the British Embassy. And they said the new model they have, where they will participate in the 26th of May, later on this year in Berlin, that their aspiration is 2,000 kilometers per liter. And he was completely flabbergasted by it. And I told him, well, the best team ever we've had achieved 4,800 kilometers on 1 liter. So that is driving from here to Gibraltar and back on 1 liter. And that is important for two reasons. One, we should find a way to serve our needs with less resource, but also we have to inspire more young people to invest their brain power in things that bring about these kind of solutions.